What kind of super student will you be? Welcome, 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 welcome to Lift Tutoring. Welcome to another video by Lift Tutoring. Love, instruction, foundation, teaching. Kindergarten readiness. What kind of super student are you? Welcome to Lift Tutoring. Welcome to another podcast by Lift Tutoring. I am Jeremy White here with you, and we got a very special treat today. I'm going to start getting different educators from around the country, maybe even internationally, if we can make the time zones work. And I'm going to be asking them different questions about their experiences, what their passions are, what their foundations are, and how they are helping to change the world. And right now, we have live on the line, well, this is going to be recorded, so not necessarily live, but live on the line, got Jarrell Mason. Jarrell, is it Jarrell or Jarrell?
You said it correct, Jeremy. It's Jarrell.
That's what I figured, because I was like, why am I second guessing myself? I've known you for 10 plus years, and I'm like, I remember thinking about this. I'm like, wait a second, it's got to be Jarrell. Silly, because we text message all the time, so not actually hearing your name. I had to second guess myself for a second, but I appreciate you joining us. Where are you living now?
I'm living in Farmington, New Mexico, which is in the northwest region of New Mexico, which is close to the four corners of the U.S., which is Arizona, Utah, and Colorado.
Awesome. Because I know you went to, you were in Greensboro. What year did you graduate from UNCG?
I graduated from UNCG in 2009. Originally from North Carolina, moved out to New Mexico in December of 2014.
Wow. Man, that's quite, you taking your talents out to the West Coast. I appreciate that. But just for our listeners, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of what brought you to education?
Okay, well, like I stated earlier, I'm originally from North Carolina, moved out to New Mexico in 2014. Before I got into education, I worked in the radio field. I had my own radio show at UNCG, then worked for 3 years at the local radio station in my hometown, 99 Jams, as a board op, doing various production work. But then my girlfriend at the time, now wife, we were talking online, and when I decided to move out to New Mexico, I wanted a change of scenery to do something different. So I ended up getting my foot in the door in Albuquerque Public Schools as an educational assistant. Then the following school year, we had a teacher leave mid-year. I already got accepted into the master's degree program at Wayland Baptist University, based out of Plainview, Texas. But they had an external campus in Albuquerque, applied for a provisional teacher license, taught there, then ended up moving to Farmington, and where I am now working with Aztec Municipal School District, which is a town that's 10 miles west of Farmington.
And what grade do you teach?
5th grade special ed.
5th grade special ed. God bless you, man. God bless you. Because I do the babies, and every time I meet somebody who's doing the older kids, they're teaching the older kids 5th, 6th, 7th in particular. That right around that age, everything, the hormones start flowing.
But before I did 5th grade special ed in Aztec, I taught 6th, 7th grade English at Brant Middle School special ed.
Yeah, we need more people like you, because I actually met a high school teacher last night locally here in Charlotte, and he said, yeah, I teach 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. I was like, thank you, because I can't do it. He said, well, what do you teach? I said, kindergarten. He's like, thank you, because I can't do it. So, we're all on this boat. We're on this journey together.
I said, it's a preference. You just got to know what level of tolerance you can have dealing with kids. Some can do intermediate, some can do high school, some can do elementary. So it's all about your comfort zone and what you're willing to deal with. So each group of kids has their pros and cons.
That's right. And you got to go. You got to go where your passion's at. And speaking of passion, what What's your? I don't know if you've if during your teacher meetings and your professional developments and things that people have come and spoke about teachers and their why. Like, why did they get into it? Why are they so interested in it? Why are they passionate? Like, what is it about you when you wake up in the morning? Why do you teach? And what keeps you going, especially on those tough days where, your administrator's asking one more thing of you. Maybe a teammate is sick and you got to cover their class, or, you had a whole lesson plan ready and then you realize you got to flush that down the toilet, and then you kind of got to go back to your why. Tell me about your why as far as education.
My why in regards to education is mainly for the kids, because with special ed kids, they tend to be ostracized and pigeonholed into being labeled as the low group or the dummy. And especially around this age, they know that they're going to get pulled out to be in the classroom with me for X amount of time based on their IEP needs. And just seeing their progression of growth from the beginning of the year to the end of the year, where they're able to say, it's because of you, I can now write a full one-page essay without any mistakes, or I can be able to multiply, divide, or do fractions based on what it is that you taught me. So that is the why for me, is seeing the smiles on the kids' faces, being able to bond with them and see how they enjoy coming and learning, and also having their learning be a part of a collaborative effort with me as their teacher, because as you and I both know, that the educational pedagogy has changed from year to year, and it's no longer sit and get like it was when we were in school. Mm-hmm. It's now more hands-on. It's more engaging them and having them take partnership and responsibility in their learning, especially with that age, since they'll be going to middle school, where more is expected of them.
Now, you bring up an interesting point with the pedagogy, because the way back when, I don't know if any of our listeners ever heard of a documentary called Waiting for Superman, but it's on Netflix. Have you seen it?
Oh, yeah, I'm familiar with Waiting for Superman.
Yeah, and I thought it was interesting because, one of the main teachers, I believe from KIPP schools, he was talking, and he said, we've been doing the same thing since the 70s, and we know it doesn't work, and yet we still are doing it. But I think it's bigger than that. There's this sociological, ideology. There's a stereotype of how education is supposed to look, and I know, at least from me with kindergarten, it's almost as if sometimes when I explain to the parents what it is I'm expecting of the children, or my high expectations and my, the rigor that I'm bringing to the classroom, some of them get it and appreciate it because they're really hard on their kids academically anyway. Some of them are not really sure what to think, and then some of them are like, really, kindergarten? Have you kind of come across that being in special education, where you kind of get this idea from either parents or society that, oh, it's special education, so you just do the best you can with those kids because they're probably going to insert negative comment here, and how have you in your class and the way you teach kind of broadened out so that you can start to break those ideas of special education children can't whatever it is people think they can't do?
Well, it's all about upliftment, providing them self-esteem, because a lot of these kids, they've been in special ed since kindergarten or maybe first, second grade, after they've gone through the SAT process, which is student assistance team, the process that takes place before a child can be formally placed in SPED. And you have some parents that are very big on making sure that their kids get what they need as far as academic or social or whatever services based according to their IEP. And it is my job as the teacher to make sure that they can be academically the best person they can be, but also, more importantly, the best person that they can be. Because it was interesting for me coming here where in North Carolina there's a high African American population, where in northwestern region of New Mexico, my school district, the demographics are predominantly white, Hispanic, and a small twang of Native Americans. So that was brand new for me, coming to an area where I had no experience as far as teaching this subgroup. But it's all about learning, knowing the area, knowing your kids, and thankfully the administration at Park Avenue Elementary been very helpful with me as far as navigating that road. But the kids are very receptive to learning, but you got to be very strict with them from the first time they come into your class, establishing classroom norms, expectations, so that you can eliminate behavioral problems and learn helplessness, which is where they feel that by them being in SPED, they know automatically the teacher's going to come bail them out. So I teach them that not everybody's going to hold your hand all the time. When you go to middle school, they're going to expect you to be accountable and do the work yourself. So it's all about trying to instill in them little life lessons through learning. Because some of these kids, they come to me 2 and 3 grade levels below. So it's all about turning their can't into a can't.
That's
not
right.
having them play a victim, but by the end of the year, they can become a victor.
Right.
And take with them that new confidence when they go to middle school.
I like that. I like that because it almost seems as if, well, I'll just give a small anecdote. My sister, before she became a flight attendant, she had actually got her master's in family counseling, and she was actually working at a public school as a counselor. And that she still had to wear different hats. So one of her hats was having to write letters of recommendation for the seniors as they go to college. And it was interesting because she had a story for me that one of the students she was supposed to be writing a letter of recommendation for did not turn in their paperwork for her to be able to write her letter of recommendation. They didn't turn it in until about a month late, and it was already, I think, like maybe towards the end of April at this point. And they said, well, aren't you going to write me a letter of recommendation? And my sister said, you turned in your stuff a month late. No, I'm not going to be writing you a letter of recommendation. And my sister caught it from the parents because they said, you're ruining my child's life. They're trying to go to Chapel Hill. And like, you're trying to go to Chapel Hill, turning stuff in a month late? When do we put the onus back on some of these children, especially in the high school arena? So I like hearing when I hear teachers like you that put the onus back on the student to have some personal responsibility, because God knows that's what I'm trying to create with the babies, so that they, with the 5-year-olds, so that they can take ownership of their learning. And then hopefully by the time they get up to your grade level, they're already like, no, I can solve some of my own problems. I don't need my hand held all the way through high school. So I like hearing that. Moving on from that, what have you personally learned